One of the mechanisms that Spring Boot uses to reduce our project complexity is the Starter POM. Now, in order to take a look at the Starter POM and the benefits it provides to us, we're going to modify our simple application to use a unit test. So if we look in the Package Explorer, you'll see that the application test.java file has been provided. And this file establishes a unit test that will be used to test our Spring application. The unit test makes use of the Spring Test framework as well as some new annotations that are built into Spring Boot. We'll discuss those specific testing annotations a little bit later in the course. The important thing to notice is that we are importing classes from various libraries in order to make our unit test work. Now, at the moment, we have not provided those libraries. This is where Spring Boot Starter POMs come in. The Starter POM is going to allow us to import the appropriate artifacts via our dependency management system, Maven, and that's going to ensure that we have the proper versions of our dependencies. So let's navigate to our pom.xml file. You'll already notice that we're making use of the Spring Boot Starter Web POM. We're going to go ahead and add another starter POM, and it's going to be the spring-boot-starter-test POM. And we'll go ahead and pull in that dependency to our project. So we'll just select it and hit OK. Now, if we save our pom.xml file, you're going to notice that all of our import errors are no longer valid for our class. In fact, our class is now valid and would compile. And we can do so by running our unit test, and you'll see that our unit test comes back successful. So what made that happen? Well, let's look more closely at our pom.xml file to see how Spring Boot was able to leverage the starter POM in order to provide our dependencies. You'll notice that we did not specify individually that we would like to use JUnit, or that we were using Hamcrest, or even the Spring Test framework. So all of those dependencies were automatically pulled in for us. And the way that occurred is if we look at our dependency hierarchy, you'll see the Spring Boot Starter test. And if we look at that dependency, we can actually open the POM. And within that POM, we're going to see the dependencies on those libraries or those artifacts that we are now using within our project to conduct our testing. So these would actually be transitive dependencies of that starter POM. And if we look more closely at the source for the POM file, you'll see those dependencies declared. Now, the interesting thing is that we're not defining any versions. So you'll notice that for the JUnit dependency, there's no version declared, the same with Makito. And if we take a closer look at our project POM, you'll see that this is defined within the actual parent POM. So here is our parent POM, and we can open that parent POM, and looking at its source, you'll notice that it specifies a number of versions for all of the different dependencies that we would like to use. So if we look at the effective POM, here we're going to see all those versions listed. And if we look closely, there's Makito, there's Hamcrest. So you're going to see versions specified for all of those different dependencies that we're pulling down in the Spring Boot Starter POM, but it's actually that parent POM that has the overall versioning and the compatible versions built within it, And the other starter POMs just leverage that to make sure they have the right version configuration. So this takes a lot of work out of the hands of the developer and allows them to focus on writing their unit test or their application code, focusing less on the versioning of our different dependencies, what dependencies we do need. You can pretty much just write within your POM file the functionality that you need. So here we just say we'd like to test our application or that we have a web application. And we're really using a faceted type of marking for our project, and then Spring Boot takes care of the rest for us. And that really saves us time as a developer.